Today I actually wanted to talk about shadow work and kind of what it is and kind of how to do it, just kind of, general things about it. So, as you'll probably hear some people say, um, shadow work isn't for everybody, I guess. It should be something I think that everybody practices. Um, a lot of people are just kind of into the whole positivity thing and law of attraction. And while I think that those things are very plausible and possible to happen, there are things about your spirituality that you need to work on that are maybe not so happy and good and fun things to do. So shadow work, I guess we'll kind of go into a description about what that actually is. So shadow work is basically yourself, a part of yourself that's the darker part of you that maybe you aren't happy with and that you hide and suppress from, even yourself. That these were things that affected you deeply at one point in your life, that made you react a certain way, kind of as a protection mechanism when you were growing up, just to kind of get by, I guess. As far as things that were like socially acceptable to how you were supposed to be seen and what was opposed to being normal, or it could just be, traumatic events that your body, made coping mechanisms that maybe now are necessarily not such good things that it's created within you. So things like jealousy and fear and things like that. Things that aren't so good, things that, you don't really want to talk about when it comes to things spiritually wise. But I think that it's important to work on it. So shadow work, there's multiple ways that you can do it. One thing that you can do is basically something that I've started doing, which is writing it down in like your journal, a notebook. You basically ask yourself something that you think is bad about yourself, like why you feel selfish, why you feel jealousy, why something sets you off, what trigger did you have that caused you to act maybe in a not so positive and negative way. Anger, outbursts, something that you can have. For me, that's something that I really am needing to work on right now, because especially in my childhood, there was, trauma in my past with my mother. We don't get along very well. It's just a whole messy situation, and I think that I need to realize that the reason why I outburst at her is because there is resentment and trauma with her. Which, if I were to be truthful with myself right now about why I act the way that I do with that, which is something I'm working on with some shadow work, because my mom was diagnosed with cancer. As I said, we haven't gotten along well all these years, and there's never been a strong bond between her or I, or my sister and I. She's always kind of been a pain to a lot of people. And I think that trauma and that reason why every time I get mad at her when she says something that triggers me and that sets me off, and that I just start screaming and yelling at her and saying mean, terrible things, I realize that if I were to actually speak the truth to her and not have that outburst, that I would probably tell her, it really hurts my feelings that you weren't there for me. That you weren't the kind of mother that everybody's expected to be. You weren't there for me the way that you should have been. And those are things that is my true feelings about it. And if I could tell her that, which I never have, But that's the reason I think why I burst out at her, is because I feel like she wasn't there enough. Um, I mean, she was present in the house with me when I was growing up, but she really didn't have any interaction really in my life. She wasn't the one that raised me. She wasn't the one that took care of me. So I have those outbursts towards her because there's trauma from my past. And that can be things with you too, and that can be anything. That can be, you know, jealousy, you know, with your own boyfriend. It can be, and everybody has these things. Everybody has something that they have that's maybe not a good way or healthy way of reacting that, you know, can sometimes eat at you. You know, it eats at you, and as funny as it is, the shadows were a coping mechanism for you. It was a way to protect you, and it's weird because, you know, those things can come out so negative, but yet they're a way to help you cope. So when you do this, a way that you can do it, get your journal, pick something that you are not so happy with in your life. Pick something that you question of yourself, like, okay, well, why do I do that? Why am I that way? Write that question down. And then start answering it. You know, say, I feel this way because of this. I feel this way because of this. You know, just really start breaking it down. And get to the core and the root of it all, of why you feel that way. And then just let it all go. You know, just let it the hell out. You know, just cry about it. It's not fun. It's not fun. People will tell you this. It's not fun. You don't want to, it's not something you want to do in the moment. In the long run, you will be happy that you did it. So don't think, oh, I just don't want to do this because they say it's not fun. Because what it's all about is making you a better person in the long run. I can say with my experience of doing it, the little bit that I have, it did. It took a weight off my shoulders. I don't feel like it's done yet entirely, like just from having that one session with that particular thing. I don't think that it's done for me. I still think that there are some things that need some continuous work with it. But it's a process. It's a process of, you know, continuing to break it down and continuing to realize why you still have those feelings. And, you know, being kind to yourself about those things, you know. Don't beat yourself up about it. You know, you have to accept it. That's what it's all about, is accepting those shadows and those not so positive things within yourself and within your being that you have become to get by in life. It's hard. It's hard work. There will be lots of tears. There will be lots of emotions. But at the end of the road, it's going to be a weight off your shoulders. And that's the main thing that you're working towards, is making yourself a better, happier, more at peace person. Because that's what this whole journey is about, right? You can't manifest the things that you want if you're at a low vibration and unhappy with things. You have to understand yourself better. You have to make yourself a better person, and you have to raise your vibration in order for the universe to respond to you in a positive way. Which is why I think that some people probably get drawn away from, you know, the spirituality, is that they don't give it enough of a chance, that they're just in a bad place, and because they're in that bad place, they ask the universe for something and it doesn't happen, and they don't understand why, and they give up on it because it works for everybody else. But you have to realize when those things don't work for you, it's because you're not in the place for it to work, is what I believe. You know, and I'm still, even myself, working on achieving that place, to where everything that I want to happen to come true for me. And, it's hard when you're in the beginning of it, especially. And I can say that from experience because that's me right now, as I'm still in the beginning of it. I still have to work on raising my vibration, but I can't give up hope with it, and you can't either. You just have to keep going, even though it's hard, so that you can have the good and positive things in your life. Because there's a quote that positivity equals prosperity. And I don't know who said it, but if you're always unhappy and you're always having a bad attitude about things, good things aren't going to happen for you. And that's the way that I feel like my life has been, is that I haven't been thinking as positively as I should have, and that's why I'm trying all this actual other stuff. And since I've been getting into this, I have been happier. I can definitely say that. And it's, as my tarot cards have told me before, that my spiritual growth is never ending. You're always going to be working on it throughout your life. It's not that you're ever just going to reach a certain place and you're going to just stop. That you're just going to stop and you don't have anything else that you have to learn, that it's just done and you're completely fine forever. It's always something you have to consciously try to do. And so shadow work is the same thing. There is probably always going to be something that you have to work on within yourself to bring it into the light, pull it out of those shadows, and bring it into the light, pay attention to it, say, okay, that's a part of me, and I realize and I accept that. And this is, for me. When I did it, I sat there and I cried to myself saying, it's okay for me to feel this way. It's okay that this is happening. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to have these feelings. This is how this is a part of me, something that I've been going through. And I have to learn how to deal with it. And I have to make myself a better, more positive person and learn how to let some of those things go and just let them be what they are. I have to, step back from the situation, whatever that trigger is, and let myself feel it. Let myself feel it without reacting to it. And just let it be and let it pass and acknowledge what I'm feeling. And that's what you will have to do too with shadow work. It's not about just writing it down and crying it out, but the next time that those triggers happen, you have to pay attention to it. You have to listen to it. You have to say, okay, I'm feeling those feelings. I'm having one of those moments that set me off, that upset me. And let yourself feel it. Let yourself go through the emotions of it without just reacting. And speak your own real, honest truth about it. And that's probably what I will need to do with my mom when she sets me off and we have one of those moments where shit hits the fan and it's not okay anymore. That all I want to do is scream and yell and say all the nasty things that I think. And for a long time, I thought that was speaking my truth. That's how I really felt. But at the core of it, it's hurt. That's where a lot of the shadow work comes from. It's hurt and the trauma and the fear, the pain, all those things is what it really all stems from. And the shadows, they want to be recognized. They want to be acknowledged. they want to have a light shine on them so that you can accept and heal from those things. That's just my basic feelings about shadow work, and that you have to, as somebody else said in their video that I watched about shadow work, which is very, very true. It's all about dark and light and yin and yang. You have to acknowledge the dark part of yourself and the light. You can't be unbalanced with it and only focus on the positive. You have to also accept those things about yourself that are maybe not so good, that you need to work on healing in your own life. Because I think, honestly, in my opinion, that that's where you start to feel better. Sure, you know, maybe you can get the law of attraction to work for you. Maybe you can get positive things to happen. But are you really ever going to be happy in life if you don't get over those triggers and those things that really get to you and annoy you and stuff like that? If you still have those bottled up, bagged up emotions, even in all the good that you have in your life, you maybe can't see it still because of the, you know, unbalanced part of yourself, that you still have those emotions that kind of control you and pull you down and make you feel negative. So, you know, that's why I think it's important for people to work on the shadow work and bettering themselves altogether. I mean, if you guys are interested in hearing more about it, and my work and my journeys with it, let me know. I'll happily make some more videos for you guys. I'll try and keep you updated a little bit about it here and there. Anyhow, probably. Who knows? And if you want more methods of how to, you know, do shadow work, there's plenty of, you know, articles, videos, anything to help you out along the journey. Sometimes you might need to go as far as a therapist helping you out with some of it. If you want to try and help yourself, great. But if you don't feel like you're getting anywhere with it, you might need some help, and there's nothing wrong with that. I can't say, you know, there's anything wrong with going to a therapist. You know, some people might say, oh, they're a whack job because they're going to therapy or whatever. Don't feel like that. You know, it's not that. You know, you're bettering yourself. You're working on yourself, and that in no way, shape, or form is wrong. So that's all that I really have to say for this episode today, guys. I hope that you, you know, after all your tears of doing some shadow work and practicing it, I hope that it takes a burden off of your back and makes you feel better, so that you can move on to a happier, more prosperous life. And thanks again, guys, for tuning into my channel. I hope that you guys have a good one. Alright.